What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about the WWE Raw episode for August 19th, 2024 review. Yeah, I've been gone for quite a while. Last 2 weeks I haven't uploaded any content, unfortunately. And yeah, I do apologize to all of you about that. Okay, Retro, thank you for that comment, and have a nice day. Anyway, um, yeah, Raw tonight was actually a good show. I've been keeping up with the episodes despite the fact I haven't been uploading or going live on these reviews with you guys on a week-to-week basis like I was earlier. From time to time, I would kind of miss because of life issues, and that's pretty much what's been going on the last couple of weeks between um some things that have been going on in my personal life and whatnot. Anyway, let's go ahead and go over this entire episode because it is Monday night and I want to go ahead and relax. It's been a long fucking day for me. Anyway, Raw, like I said before, it was a good show. I enjoyed this episode. It had lots of good content that happened during this episode. Again, like I said, the last hour always seems to be the worst thing on the shows. I don't know why, but it just feels that way. Um so yeah, I think that Raw, excluding the ending of the show, like the last hour, Randy Orton and Ludwig Kaiser, it was all right, I guess, but nothing really spectacular happened. I mean, it was just, you know, a way of building some excitement between Gunther and Randy Orton. That's about it, honestly. But anyway, let's go ahead and cover the entire show. I won't be going ahead and like reading verbatim every little thing that's said in the promos because I don't want to spend all night doing this, like an hour, 2 hours, or something like that. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this. Orton welcomes the crowd to Monday Night Raw. The next time we see Orton, he'll be the new world champion. Orton notes that Gunther made this personal when he made this about Orton's father and grandfather. Orton says at that point, um, he had no choice but to hit Gunther with an RKO. The World Heavyweight Champion Gunther interrupts. The crowd drowns Gunther out with boos every time he attempts to speak. Gunther tells the crowd to shut up, which works about as well as you think it would. And Gunther mocks Orton for celebrating his RKO last week. That's the only celebrating Orton is going to get to do. Gunther exclaims that all Orton managed to accomplish was making this very personal. The crowd boos. Gunther says he's going to leave Orton a bloody mess. I hope that comes true. I really do. I gotta admit, the viewership has been down on this channel. I don't know, maybe because I've gone live now. People are so used to the uploads. I'm not quite sure. Hopefully, the live streams start to go back up again. But I prefer doing this live because there's not a whole lot editing or any other bullshit involved, and I'm not timed or anything on how long I can speak if I have to about important topics that I want to speak of. But anyway, let's continue on this. So Gunther promises to expose Orton as an underachieving one-trick pony. I guess you could say that it is possible to say about Orton that he's a one-trick pony. Orton laughs and says it will make an uncomfortable flight for Gunther with a 15-foot size boot shoved right up Gunther's ass. Gunther squares up. Ludwig Kaiser tries to attack him from behind, but Orton fights him off, and Orton turns his attention to Gunther. Kaiser chops blocks Orton, and Kaiser beat down Orton and leave him lying in the ring. Backstage, says he is worried about his injured hand. He still has a lot left in the tank to teach these young Thundercats. Okay, great. Anyway, so we have Sheamus and Pete Dunne. Very good opener to the show. Awesome, entertaining matchup. These two guys really pulled off a good match. I honestly think this should have been in Berlin. This should have been a grudge match booked for Berlin. This is an excellent pay-per-view quality type of match. I would have been perfectly fine with this. This match could have gone either way, too. The way this match was done was excellent. It left the viewer unable to predict how this match was going to go because it could have gone either way, and it would have been fine either way. They chose to book the ending, like who was supposed to win. So I honestly think that this was an excellent match, probably the best match on the card tonight. And I think Gunther and Pete Dunne pulled off a hell of a fucking match, honestly. It really stuck out at me very well. So backstage, Kofi Kingston asks Xavier Woods why his energy has been off. Woods admits that he feels like Kingston is trying to replace Big E with Odyssey Jones, and Kingston says he would never do that. Kingston wants to help Jones along the way, like they wish the vets would have done for them when they were getting started. Woods agrees, and Jones walks in and gives Woods an over ecstatic hug. And backstage, oh yeah, speaking of that, the reaction by Woods seems like he is a little bit not really liking this new day formation, you could say, with Odyssey Jones. It kind of feels like nothing's being talked about with him and Kofi Kingston. He feels like probably Kofi Kingston's kind of like, overstepping his boundaries, not considering him as like, part of the group, and he's an outcast and a nobody, even though he's part of the damn group to begin with. So I guess you could say that Woods is getting a little fed up of Kofi Kingston. You can tell that Kingston, you kind of feel a little bit more sympathy towards Woods in the storyline, even though the storyline is really just dragged out for way too long. And it just it doesn't really matter to me as the viewer. I personally would be perfectly fine with Woods and Kingston just being removed from television. I just don't care. It is honestly a very boring and stale storyline. I will give, the WWE creative team some credit in the fact that they want to make this important, give these guys something worth building off of, try to change them a little bit and make them more unique than what they've been. They've been the same team for the last 10 years, and there's no Big E anymore. So it's like, it's time to move on type of feeling. And I get that, and I appreciate that, but in all honesty, this storyline it is the bottom of the barrel of Monday Night Raw episodes. It brings no value to it. Honestly, I just don't care. I don't care for Xavier Woods in this. I don't care for Kofi Kingston. I've never been a big fan of Xavier Woods, in all honesty. I think he was Consequences Creed in TNA, and he was what he was there. But in all honesty, he was a weak link in the New Day. He wasn't the top guy in this group. He didn't do anything spectacular. Now, granted, I will admit, maybe that's why they're doing this, is to push Xavier Woods out on his own to do a singles run, but I honestly don't think he's going to get over as a singles competitor. I just don't see him as that guy to be able to pull something like that off. So I don't know, but I'm not too keen on the Xavier Woods storyline so much. Love Girl 788 says they're going to break up and Xavier Woods is going to go solo with while Kofi Kingston and Odyssey Jones are going to be a tag team because no one knows who Odyssey Jones is, so they're going to be a tag team. Okay, great. I again do not care. I honestly do not care. Doesn't Xavier Woods is going to go nowhere. He's going to become an afterthought by doing this. He's a tag team performer. That's it. She continues, and it looks like Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable are going to have a match next week, and I hope it's a banger because it'll be homage to Wyndham Rotunda, and I hope that he does the spider crawl dedicated to him. To his brother, and I like how they're doing the strap match with Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, because it's a traditional. They never used to do this, so it's a brand new WWE, and in 2024. Love Girl, I have to totally agree with you on the Drew McIntyre CM Punk statement. Not to mention, it does make sense. It blends in with the story, this stipulation. They're tied together. They're constantly screwing each other over in certain situations. They're insulting each other. They're constantly bringing each other's name to one another and when they're not there. It makes all the sense in the world for this match to take place, and it's a great setup. I absolutely think this is one of the most beautiful stipulation matches ever booked this year in WWE. It connects so well with the stipulation, the way the storyline's turning out to be. So yeah, Love Girl, I totally agree with you. This is a very good storyline, and a good setup for a match. And it hasn't been done in a very long time. I think they did it though with Drew McIntyre and trying to remember his name. The guy that's I forgot his fucking name. Oh shit. The guy that's got a problem with who's on the final Cross. Yeah, what's his full name? Karrion Cross. Yeah, the match that Karrion Cross had with that Karrion Cross had with Drew McIntyre. I believe it was in 2022 at Crown Jewel. I think it was. Believe it or not. It might have been in a steel cage, though. I'm not sure. I not quite remember. Might have been. It might be in a Extreme Rules, possibly. I'm not sure, but I do believe they did have a one-on-one match in a strap match. Love Girl says, and are you mad that Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable are not going to be at the pay-per-view this coming weekend? It'll be on a Monday Night Raw show. Yeah, I have to agree. I am kind of upset. I think that Chad Gable, Uncle Howdy deserves a spot on this show. These two guys are really good at what they do. Chad Gable, unfortunately, is set up in all these situations where he's gonna have to lose. But even with the losses, he still feels relevant in a way to me. But as challenging for championship titles or anything like that, no. If they were to put him in a championship match at this point with the wins and loss record he has at this present time with his team, I would have to say that would be ignorant and absolutely stupid and insulting to our intelligence. So they would have to build him up after this Uncle Howdy storyline that they finish with him, because he needs to get on a winning streak before he ever even sniffs a fucking title opportunity again. And lately, he's not been doing any of that. He's been losing nonstop. I really haven't seen him win anything at all. So, yeah. Love Girl mentions this is different though because it's corner to corner. That means lights up, and the other one doesn't. So this is different. Actually, no, it's not. They've done this before in WWE with Eddie Guerrero and JBL for the WWE Championship at Great American Bash in 2004. Um, they CM Punk had a strap match. I think it was against Umaga once, and he won that match. So it's been a while since we've seen a strap match. It's not a very common match used, so I kind of like the idea that this match is taking place under the storyline going on with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. But let's go ahead and continue where we left off here. I'll come back to the comments in the chat in just a moment. So give me 1 second. All right, so backstage, Chad Gable officially welcomes Ivy Nile to American Made. I like the title of the group, American Made. I do appreciate that name for their group. It does have a nice ring to it. Nile promises to handle Maxine Dupree tonight, and Chad Gable notes that once they are done with Alpha Academy, they can focus on the Wyatt Six. So Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree have a match, but this match ends up being a no contest thanks to the situation that took place with Nikki Cross and the rest of the Wyatt family, or the Wyatt Six, I should say. They're not really the Wyatt family. That's Bray Wyatt's group. Um, but yeah, they interfered in this match, tore everything apart, and that was pretty much it. And Sister Abigail Chad Gable straight into the mat. We had a nice promo by Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley about their match taking place at Berlin in this tag team match. I actually like this match. I think it's going to be a decent one. Who's going to win? I'm not quite sure. I think I'm going to lean towards Dominic Mysterio. Believe it or not, yeah, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I think they're going to win this match. But then again, think about it. You could have Damian Priest just pin Dominic Mysterio. It has no effect in the upcoming match that will take place at Bad Blood between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. So I think, yeah, I'm going to switch my choice here. I'm going to go with Damian Priest defeating Dominic Mysterio in this tag team matchup. And then Liv Morgan gets her revenge against Rhea Ripley gets her revenge over Liv Morgan for the world title at Bad Blood. I don't think it's going to take place inside of a Hell in a Cell. I don't think it's absolutely necessary for that. I think the only match that needs that type of stipulation is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It has the highest build, it has the highest intensity of all the storylines that are taking place. These guys are going back and forth at it, wanting to kill each other. Last week we saw CM Punk beating the shit out of Drew McIntyre. So in all honesty, I think that this is the only match that needs the Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. And that's pretty much it. If you want to throw a last woman standing match in there as a stipulation for Bad Blood, I'd be perfectly fine with that. That would make even just as much sense as a Hell in a Cell match, even though the Hell in a Cell doesn't have that kind of intensity to the story as it does with Punk and Drew McIntyre. So if you want to do a last woman standing match for the women's world title, I'm fine with that match. But a Hell in a Cell match, not really necessary. And they're kind of like following the coattails of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk and what they've done in that storyline. So I kind of think that they should just stay away from a second Hell in a Cell match anyway. Next up, we had CM Punk. Punk says he didn't get much sleep last night. He got some good news and he couldn't wait to get here to tell us about it in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. God help us all. Florida sucks. Anyway, Punk wants to tell us a story. Okay, it's story time with CM Punk, baby. Apparently, he's stealing a gimmick from Adam Cole. Anyway, While he was at Fanatic Fest this weekend, someone asked him why Punk thinks he is on a hot streak. Punk says it's 100% the fans. Punk talks about some of the amazing fans he met during the weekend, and Punk shows a handful of bracelets fans made from him for him, and points out that they may be insignificant to others, but they matter to him. Um, and I like the bracelet being the focal point of this whole storyline. It is a symbol of his love, affection towards two people, one a dog and one is his wife. Um, that's his part of his family. So he's fucking with his family, Drew McIntyre. So that kind of digs a little deeper and makes things even more personal than just competition, wins and losses, or a world championship opportunity type of stuff. This is more along the lines like, hey, you're really taking shots at my own family now. You couldn't just keep this shit between you and me. You had to take my bracelet. You got to act like you're some big hot shot. You couldn't just kick my ass and leave me for dead. I mean, I think that would have been a little less. This is what the symbol of what helped Drew McIntyre get the W at SummerSlam. At Basher Berlin, that's going to be a totally different story. I really believe that. I think CM Punk is pulling out the victory here. He's getting the win, and he's walking away the winner of this strap match. And then he's going to be winning at Hell in a Cell to finish out the whole entire thing, where he gets his bracelet. They're doing the same thing on SmackDown with Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns with the Samoan necklace that they got going on over there to say that they're the tribal chief. So it's one and the same. Now, do we see Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa competing inside of a Hell in a Cell? Is that necessary? No, I don't think so. I think an Extreme Rules match, hardcore match, or just a normal singles match is perfectly fine in my own opinion. But yeah. Anyway, let's continue. So the bracelet Drew McIntyre took off his unconscious body means something to him. McIntyre claims to be done with Punk, but Punk isn't done with McIntyre. McIntyre says Punk says McIntyre claims to hate him, but Punk thinks McIntyre loves him. He's his biggest fan. That said, Punk made a bracelet for McIntyre. Punk unrolls a leather strap, and Punk announces that they are having a strap match at Basher Berlin. In Berlin, Punk is going to whip him like a bitch. McIntyre's music hits, and McIntyre slowly walks out on the stage. McIntyre asks Punk if he's been drinking for the first time in his life. He says he accepts the match. McIntyre doesn't want to wait for the pay-per-view next week. He wants revenge for last week. And McIntyre tells Punk to get rid of the strap he's holding, and they can get to business. Punk says he'll give McIntyre the strap if McIntyre gives him back his bracelet. And McIntyre laughs and says no. He knows better than that, because he knows he would lie to him to give him the bracelet and then still beat the shit out of him with the strap. And CM Punk said, "You're right, I would have." That was really smart, but this storyline is making both of these guys look really good. Unfortunately, someone's going to have to lose, and that's the sad part. Because both of these guys are being built up very well. McIntyre is in the same kind of similar situation as Chad Gable. Fortunate enough for Drew McIntyre, at least got a W out of this whole storyline. So there's a plus for you. But McIntyre hasn't been doing all that good for wins and loss records, if you really want to get technical with all this. So him challenging for a world title at any point doesn't sound realistic. Next up, we had New Day and Odyssey Jones against the Final Testament. Final Testament eat another L. Nothing surprising here. Backstage, Rhea Ripley tells Damian Priest that his match against Dominic Mysterio is a trap. Priest doesn't care, and as long as they can get their hands on Dominic or Liv Morgan, it's worth it. They're going to pass judgment on this lame ass new Judgment Day. Okay, so backstage, Adam Pearce asks Miz if he really wants to have this match against Bronson Reed. Miz says no, he doesn't really want to, but he needs to because Reed hurt R-Truth, and R-Truth is one of his few friends in the industry, and he's doing it to stand up for his friend. I like it, but do I care? No, not really. I honestly think Bronson Reed is not going to be facing Seth Rollins at Basher Berlin. I think it's going to be at Bad Blood. That is when I think Bronson Reed's getting his match. I think that Seth Rollins taking a hiatus again for a few weeks leading into Bad Blood. So I think after Bash at Berlin, we should see Seth Rollins back. I think the first episode of Monday Night Raw, more than likely in September. So yeah, that's when I think that match is going to start getting some build into it, going into Bad Blood in October 5th. So expect that to take place. Miz had a match with Bronson Reed and no disqualification. Miz did have some offense here, but unfortunately he lost by a tsunami. Obviously, I didn't think he was going to win that match. I mean, you'd have to be a fucking idiot. Anyway, after the match, Reed goes back up top for another splash, and Braun Strowman music's hit, and he stomps to the ring, and Reed and Strowman have a stare down. Now, obviously, Strowman is being used in this situation that he is going to be a guy that is pretty much a stepping stone for Bronson Reed, building him up towards that match for him and Seth Rollins at Bad Blood on October 5th. So that's really all this is at the end of the day. So it's nothing special or important. It's just going to be another, buckle on the on Bronson Reed's strap. That's all it is. Braun Breaker. They did a video package of Braun Breaker, what he has done in NXT, leading into the main roster and leading up to him winning the Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is seeming to be a distraught person, not too happy. He's kind of like down in the dumps. I think he may turn on Jey Uso. I'm not sure what's going on with that, because there's talks that maybe Jey Uso may go back to the bloodline with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso. And then Sami Zayn could be joining the group as well to do a 4-on-4 War Games match at Survivor Series. That's a very strong possibility that they may put those four together. So it is what it is for right now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah. Bronson Reed, though, he is looking good. They built him up very well. They did an excellent job with this video package, and kudos to them. They did a fantastic job with that. And I like Bronson Reed and what he's been doing for the last few months that he just started on Raw. I'm just really fucking amazed how good this guy is. He is really good at what he has to offer. In all honesty, I can't complain. I think he's doing a great job, and he's going to make a magnificent champion as IC champ. Making the title even more important, they're doing a tournament starting next week. Jey Uso's already part of that tournament. He already announced that he's going to be in it. Love it. We haven't seen tournaments for championship opportunities in quite a while. So I'm glad they're doing it. Anyway, moving on. We had Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio match that ended up being a no contest, obviously. And Judgment Day basically interrupted the match as quickly as it started, and they beat the living shit out of them. Rhea Ripley basically got her ass kicked by Liv Morgan. I didn't like this look. It looked so silly. A small woman beating up a very China-like tall woman. Could you imagine seeing a woman like Sable beating the shit out of a China? That would never happen. It's not even realistic. This is something I really question. I didn't like this. I kind of wish they would have had Rhea Ripley watching Damian Priest get his ass kicked, have the men hold her down where Damian Priest was, and have Finn Balor or Dominic Mysterio just beating the tar out of Damian Priest and putting him through a table. That I would have liked a lot more than seeing Liv Morgan throw Rhea Ripley around into the ring steps and into the fucking the little sign on the the post, the ring post. I didn't like that. This didn't really come across as a good way of making it realistic to me. It just seemed awkward and weird, the way the size difference and everything. The strength of Rhea Ripley getting thrown around by a Liv Morgan. I mean, don't make any sense. It's kind of silly. So yeah, I didn't really like that. I thought that was kind of warped out, honestly. So following that, we had the women's tag team title match in a triple threat. Didn't really care for this. Isa Dawn and Alba Fire end up retaining the tag team titles. Who gives a shit? We got an announcement that Pat McAfee is leaving the commentary booth with Michael Cole for a short period of time until January. He will be on the college football pregame shows leading into Saturday games. So he will not be on the show for about 3 months or so. Okay, no big deal. This is probably where they're going to bring Joe Tessitore in. Joe Tessitore, I absolutely love him on Top Rank Boxing, but in all honesty, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off a WWE commentator type of like atmosphere. This doesn't seem like the right place for Joe Tessitore. The commentary for real sports compared to this is different. Commentary in pro wrestling, you have to elevate the match. In sports, announcers aren't really used to help elevate the match. They're just there to give you the play-by-play, what's going on, giving their kind of impression on how the fight's going, what their thoughts are, things of that sort, but nothing to the extent they have to elevate the fight to make you entertained by it. So, I mean, Joe Tessitore, he sounds great, but I don't know if he's going to bring that style of commentary to a WWE universe that they're going to need for him to elevate these matches or get people extremely intrigued with this commentary to what they're watching. Mauro Ranallo is the only guy outside of a wrestling background as a commentator has been able to pull this off and elevate matches and get you excited, because that's just what he does. He does that in boxing, MMA. He does that in all sports. If Joe Tessitore did that, I wouldn't be saying that, but Joe Tessitore doesn't have that quality of commentary. Now, is he a great commentator? Absolutely. I don't think he's a terrible commentator by any means. I just don't know if his style of commentary in real sports put into a pro wrestling aspect will get us interested in him. And they've done this with Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was good in commentary for MMA from Bellator to UFC and all that, but it didn't, come over into the WWE wrestling world. So I don't know. It might be different because we don't have Vincent Mann in the background. So it may be different with Joe Tessitore not having Vince doing the commentary, telling him what to say and all that. So it may be a lot different for him. And he may be able to pull this off like he does on Top Rank Boxing. So we'll see. And he's going to be on SmackDown commentary. I think Corey Graves is going to head over to Monday Night Raw with Michael Cole since they've worked together for a while and they have good chemistry. So I think that's what's going to happen there. We then had Randy Orton, Ludwig Kaiser ending the show in the main event. And this was a good match. It wasn't great, though. I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, I have to keep my eye on every whim that happens in this match. No, but it was a good match. It was a decent match. Match ended with Randy Orton winning. Gunther had some interferences from time to time during the match, helping Kaiser kind of get an advantage. But at the end of the day, Orton wins the match with an RKO, obviously. And then they brawl to end the show, and that's it. So that was what we had closing out the show. Not bad, not terrible. But again, Raw's last hour is a fucking drag. And that is the problem with Monday Night Raw. They need to make it a 2-hour show. Maybe on Netflix, that's what they'll do, especially if the fact they don't need to have commercials. They can make it a 2-hour show, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes tops, but that's about it. And that's all I really care to watch of WWE content anyway. But anyway, guys, at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.